It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.
Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, of course. The DiamondKShow.com, OnFire-TV.com, RadioOnFire.com, and the good folks over at WRF Radio. Welcome back. I am here. Of course, the Diamond K Show, a lot of things that we have got to get into, a lot of things that we need to discuss. And Baltimore is, we're really at a state of emergency. A mass shooting in Northwest Baltimore today leaves 6 injured, 1 dead. 1 person dead. I said a mass shooting in Baltimore. Now, you know, what do we describe? What do we categorize? What do we define as a mass shooting? This would fall in that category. As I said, 1 dead, 6 others were injured this afternoon. The shooting took place in West Baltimore, Park Heights Avenue at Shirley Avenue. Police said that a 2016 silver 4-door Lexus CT200H was traveling north on Park Heights Avenue. And this is around 12:30 this afternoon. Baltimore Police Commissioner Michael Harrison said that the car stopped, 2 people got out and began firing at a group of people, killing 1 adult. 6 other adults were shot, 2 were taken to shock trauma, and 5 people walked into Sinai Hospital. Anybody with information, they are asking, police are, for you to call 410-396-2100, the Metro Crime Stoppers 8667 lockup. So this just comes on the heels of a lot of crime. A lot of crime here in the city. On I-83, a car shot multiple times in what they're describing as a possible road rage incident. State police said that troopers were called around 10:40 p.m. last night to I-83. This is, roads to Cockeysville. What is going on? People say that someone driving an SUV shot the victim's vehicle multiple times and fled north on I-83. Victim could not provide any more details on the shooter or their vehicle. No one injured in that. And a motive remains under investigation, and they're describing it as a possible road rage incident. What is fueling this crime here in Baltimore? And not just in Baltimore. This is something that the country is dealing with regards to crime, with regards to the surge in crime. But 2 people getting out of a car in the middle of the day in Park Heights and shooting 7 people, this is not the type of crime that Baltimore is used to. The brazenness of it. I mean, it is definitely different. It's a different climate. In Little Italy, this is an area in Baltimore, they are receiving funding to make the neighborhood safer. Governor Larry Hogan announced that the state would provide $500,000 in investments to fund the Little Italy community. So this is in Baltimore City, just beyond downtown Baltimore. And they're trying to help make the neighborhood safer, they say. Make the neighborhood safer. Little Italy is a proud community with a storied history, but violent crime threatens to make it less safe and welcoming. We can't let that happen, Hogan said in a news release. All of these security upgrades will help bolster law enforcement's ability to make the neighborhood safer and give more peace of mind to people who live, visit, and work here. So I don't know if they're going to be giving funding to Park Heights to make Park Heights safer. I can think of a lot of areas that are less safe. Little Italy is not an area that we really look at in the city as being, oh, they need money down there. I mean, there's so many areas that I could think of if they're trying to make Baltimore City safer that you can do. But hey, don't get me talking about that. So yes, Will is on YouTube, and he's saying in Little Italy, what crime happens in Little Italy? Yeah, look, okay, I was thinking the same thing. Not a crime-ridden place. He says, except some food getting murdered. Yeah, it is not really a crime place. This is just theatrics. This is just for publicity. And of course, we know that Hogan is considering a run for the presidency. I'm telling you, he probably can't even deliver Maryland. Or maybe he can deliver Maryland. He might can deliver Maryland, but that's about it. That's about all he can do in a presidential race. So he really should not run for president. But hey, this Little Italy thing, they're acting like Little Italy, which is an area of Baltimore. It's more on the white side. It might be like 98% white. A lot of businesses there, and for some restaurants and folks near the water. So folks from all around the city happen to go in that area. But there's a lot of restaurants, a lot of little pubs, that kind of thing. And so check out this funding. So funding is going to include $130,000 for vehicle tag readers. Oh yeah, they're going to be reading your tags. Now, it is a measure that they're doing, and they're focusing on Little Italy. Don't you come down here, you black and brown people. So they're doing that. $130,000 for vehicle tag readers, $83,000 for police accessible cameras. Like all these cameras that are around right now, those don't count. We need $83,000 for just in Little Italy, which is not a big area, for police accessible cameras. So they're going to put up more cameras in addition to the cameras that they already have, and $40,000 for street intersection reflective paint at crosswalks. Now, if you want to make something safe, that's what you got to do. You got to dump $40,000 for reflective paint. That's going to make things safer. I don't know how that makes it safer. I don't even know why this area needs this. A lot of cameras there already. Because I'm not finished yet, another $250,000 will be committed to the creation of a small business or a business improvement district. So let me say that again. $250,000 will be committed to Little Italy in Baltimore for a business improvement district. The neighborhood would get safety services from the Waterfront Partnership of Baltimore. So they are doing a whole lot. This is, and let me stress for people that are not from Baltimore, this is not a big area. Right, it's not a big area. This is a white area. This is what they call Little Italy. And, shout out Fields One. I see you in the chat. Restaurants in there. And, so in the comment section, these are people that are familiar with Baltimore, and they know that, one, not a lot of crime happens in this area, and two, this is a white area. So they're really hyper-focused on it. It's such a cornerstone of Baltimore. Little Italy is a cornerstone of Baltimore City, they are saying. And in this statement, I'm pleased to see this significant investment in safety and security in one of our historic neighborhoods. Okay. But and this is the Maryland State Senate President Bill Ferguson talking about that, and he says in his own release that I want to thank the governor for his leadership and welcome all Marylanders to come by and enjoy the important cultural gem that is Baltimore's Little Italy. Oh, yes. These white folks are so in love with Little Italy. But there's so many other areas in the city that are also historic, that are also in need of this type of investment. And it's up to our leaders, our elected officials, to make sure that that investment happens. Now, we have we got a crop of folks in office right now, and I want to see the investment get spread around the city and not just in certain areas that are not really in need. You know what I'm saying? Not really in need. We've got a lot of areas in Baltimore. A lot of crime in Baltimore. We're talking about crime. Just tuning in, we're talking about crime. What is fueling the crime in Baltimore? And, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to let folks act like Baltimore is the only place with a surge in crime, because we are not the only city. We talked about Chicago last week, and they're, past 400 murders just for, this 8 months into the year. So we got other places that are worse than we are, but that still does not stop me from talking about and asking the question about what is fueling crime in Baltimore. What is fueling this surge in crime? I know some people are going to say it's Marilyn Mosby. She fueled the crime surge. I beg to differ. She did not fuel the surge in crime, and she's going to be replaced soon by Ivan Bates, and time will tell whether or not there is a change in the crime. Time is going to tell. So we have a juvenile in custody in Owings Mills, two of them. A juvenile in custody with regards to 2 Owings Mills-area sexual assaults. Crimes everywhere. Baltimore County Police have a juvenile in custody in connection with these 2 assaults. The county police released just very few details, other than to say that the assaults took place late Sunday and Monday night in the area of Lakeside Boulevard in Owings Mills. Police said that officers canvassing the area took the suspect in custody yesterday morning. Police said that the juvenile remains held without bond in the Baltimore County Detention Center on first and second degree rape, kidnapping, and armed robbery charges. Investigation is continuing with that. And this juvenile, what was he thinking? You want to commit crime, you got to go somewhere like Park Heights. They're going to catch a sexual assault in 48 hours in Owings Mills. What were you thinking? So let's go back here. Let's look at some of these comments. Will on YouTube is saying, me either, but the Baltimore finest as usual, like Jay-Z said, politics as usual. And said that is what is fueling crime. Will also said putting funding and helping places that's not needed. Absolutely. I agree with that. Fields 1, thank you for your donation. Meanwhile, everyone's place looked like it's been bombed out and seems like no money for anything black and positive. You are absolutely right. Definitely need some work on that North Avenue area. I mean, there's so many places in Baltimore where we can get this done. This is election season. Primaries happen. We're rolling into the general election now. We got to start holding these leaders, these elected officials accountable. We got to start holding these folks accountable. Meaning we got to put their feet to the fire. So a 15-year-old arrested and charged with first-degree attempted murder of a teen. Today, the Baltimore cops, announced the arrest of this 15-year-old in connection to the attempted murder of a 17-year-old. So they say that on August 13th, around 5:30 p.m., Southern District Patrol officers were dispatched to the 200 block of South Stricker Street to investigate a reported shooting. Now, they don't want to put any money over there. No money in West Baltimore, right? So when the officers arrived, they found a 17-year-old male suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. The victim was transported to an area hospital by ambulance for treatment. Detectives identified a suspect after an investigation and obtained a warrant, arrested and formally charged the suspect on August 17th. The juvenile is currently being held at Baltimore City Central Booking. So there you have that. But as I said, they're worried about Little Italy. You know what I mean? They're worried about Little Italy, and the only thing you got to worry about down there is pasta, right? It's not a whole lot going on down there with regards to crime. I can point to many places around the city, and we're not even going to be able to get to every crime that happens in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the crime that's happening is the disservice that elected officials are letting happen under their watch. Letting happen under their watch. Yeah, I'm saying that because these folks, if they're not asking for your votes right now, they're going to be asking for your votes in 2 years. And we have to remember their lack of progress. The lack of progress. I feel like we're talking about the same things over and over and over and over again. I feel, and I hate to repeat myself. I do. But that's what I feel like we do. I feel like every day we're repeating ourselves. Every year, every election cycle, we're repeating ourselves. And, until we start holding these people accountable, we're going to keep getting these same results. They're going to start talking that good stuff every couple years. You know what I mean? Every 2 years. 2 years is going to be somebody coming out, oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, right? But right now, $500,000, $500K in new crime fighting measures for Little Italy. $500,000. And I'm telling you, the crime that they claim happens in Little Italy, you know what I mean? Maybe somebody ran a red light, maybe. You know what I mean? The folks down there, college kids down there partying, okay, gets a little rowdy. That's the crime? $500,000? $500,000. We got so many homeless people right around the corner from where they're talking about. None of this money is going to help any of those folks. None of this money is going to help. I want people to understand that they're not really trying to stop crime per se. That's not really the goal. That's not really the goal. They're just moving money around, helping out their cronies. And if we continue to let this stuff happen, at what point do we get some of this responsibility? What point do we get the responsibility? Feds plan an effort to, quote unquote, curb violence in Baltimore using federal law. Now, we're going to get into this story, but notice they're not talking about spending any money, right? No. That is they're doing that only in the quote unquote crime area that is Little Italy. Federal officials speaking today, this afternoon to be exact, in East Baltimore, another place that could use investment, some crime fighting investment. Speaking alongside state and city leaders, they announced plans to curb violence with federal law as part of a new crime fighting strategy. What irks me about this, and we're going to talk about this, Mayor Scott was there, and there were others there, but they're talking about public safety. They talk about fighting crime. Little Italy gets $500,000. East Baltimore, West Baltimore, in the hood, they just get more federal law. Crime fighting strategy. They call it a new crime fighting strategy. Public safety, they claim, is a basic right and shouldn't be too much to ask for. This is what U.S. Attorney Barron said, Eric Barron. But of course, they ain't got no money for East Baltimore to help with this. They ain't got money for West Baltimore to help with this. What they're going to do is lay out a strategy so they can lock up more people. Maybe they're guilty, maybe they're not, but they're just going to start locking up more people. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Will says, helping themselves at our expense because we vote for them regardless if they do something or not. Oh, Will, you are right on the money. They play on our, the urge that we have to vote, the pressure that folks feel to vote, to participate in the system. I encourage people to participate in the system. But what I don't encourage is letting these folks get away with stuff. Vote for somebody, and if they don't do what they say, don't vote for them again. Vote for somebody else. I am tired of the same old people, right? I'm tired of the same old people, and this is statewide, citywide, nationwide. We don't need to have no mid-80s president, right? That's Republican, that's Democrat, that's independent. Nobody in their 80s should be running this country. I've said it many times. We wouldn't let somebody in their 80s handle the family reunion. We would say, yo, grandma, granddad, sit back. We'll take care of this, right? Because they're older. They should just be chilling, enjoying their family time. Joe Biden needs to retire, go off Delaware, wherever the Biden family wants to go, and he needs to be gone. He needs to be gone. But I have digressed. With visual, vocal, and bipartisan support, the federal prosecutor unveiled 3 key components of the initiative that he said are all actions his office has never done before. Oh, they've locked folks up before. I don't know what's different about this. But there's a new violent and organized crime section with 30 new state-funded positions, including prosecutors, investigators, and analysts that will be up and running by October. So you see, in East Baltimore, in West Baltimore, in my hood, and in your hood, what they're going to do to try to fight crime is they're going to bring more prosecutors, more investigators, more analysts so they can lock folks up. You do understand. You do see where this is going, right? Barron said that the U.S. Attorney's Office for Maryland will start using what they call the Al Capone model of prosecution. The Al Capone model, right? That's when Elliot Ness and his band of agents came and they put cases together, right? In the words of Denzel, putting cases on all, you know how it goes. Is that they're going to take violent people off the streets by any appropriate legal means necessary, or they're going after your taxes. I don't think that Joe Public cares how we get violent criminal off our streets. They just want them off. I want y'all to think about what he's saying. Listen to this. I don't think Joe Public, that means anybody in the public, the average citizen, cares how we get violent criminals off the streets. He's saying, y'all don't care how we get them, but we're going to get them. If they got to bend some rules, they may do that. Things are going to get crazy. And they're not talking about investing in Baltimore City. They're not talking about investing in East Baltimore and West Baltimore. They're talking about more folks to lock you up, and they're going to start using tricks because they say that you don't care how we lock these people up. He says that his office is prioritizing pursuing fraud cases. Okay. Any and all wrongdoing that our office prioritizes, including pandemic fraud, for instance, unemployment insurance fraud. You might not believe it, but what we found is that with half of our targets, they are all involved in such fraud. Oh, yeah, they get ready to start going after y'all. There's a lot of y'all out there. And they are not done yet. Not done yet. 500K while North Avenue looks like Beirut, Fields One says. It does. It does. Looks crazy on North Avenue. Looking crazy. Will says that participate if we're getting tangibles because we need it to better our community, the communities of Baltimore. Absolutely. Absolutely. Will says all other groups do it except US. They vote if they get something to help their communities. I mean, yeah, if I thought the RICO was the Al Capone model. No, the RICO's not the Al Capone model. That's more of the Al Capone model. They got Al Capone on tax evasion, right? So they found some other backdoor because they couldn't really get him. He didn't really have his hands on stuff, right? And he was able to avoid it. Their witnesses went out the window, went missing, went gone, and get somebody turned state's evidence, and then we don't have any we don't have anything on him now. They gotta let him go. So the Al Capone model is the Treasury Department, Elliot Ness and the Treasury Department. They were going after his taxes, which is how they got him on tax evasion. So what they're going to do now is they're going to find violent criminals and try to get them on some other loophole. And according to Barron, he's saying that most of these violent criminals also participate in fraud, and they can get them on something else, something like fraud, something else. Crazy. And he's saying this after the uprising in Baltimore. Of course, we care. Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. We do care. We do care how you get people. You can't just say, Attorney Barron say that I don't think. And here's what he's really saying. Here, let me translate this even further. When the U.S. Attorney for Maryland says that I don't think Joe Public cares, he's talking about white people. I don't think that white people care how we get violent criminals off our streets. That's what he's talking about. They just want them off. According to Barron, his team will scour city firearms cases for violations of the federal school zone statute and prosecute those cases in federal courts. So you have a shooting taking place near a school zone, and they're going to zoom in on that, give you more time. And here's the thing. What if you didn't do it? Joe Public doesn't care, right? White people don't care. They just want to get folks off the streets. Yeah, this is getting really, really crazy. No one will be locked up who wears a yarmulke only fitted caps. Oh, yeah. Know that for a fact. This is going to affect black people. This is going to affect brown people. This is not good. They said that this is a new strategy. It takes out of the city, it takes out of the state's hands and puts it in the feds' hands. And you know how the feds roll. They said that it's a different operating model. They said that it's going to be great. It's going to be great. That's what he said. Prosecutors said that the school zone statute is not currently well known, but firearms violations within 1,000 feet of a school building or playground can result in more years in federal prison. Barron said that this is one way the federal government plans to start reducing violent crime in Baltimore. School grounds should be safe, sacred, and free of fear. I don't see any individuals. This is not going to benefit folks, I think, in the long run. What this really sounds like a code for mass incarceration. I'm not happy about this. Not happy about this at all. Just tuning in. She made Diamond K in here, of course, the DiamondKShow.com, onfire-tv.com. So, big student loan forgiveness plan announced by the president today. Joe Biden made the announcements. Of course, not what some folks want. Progressives wanted more. Biden did the bare minimum for that. But student loan, in some instances, student loans, forgiveness, we're going to see how this goes. I mean, he talks a lot, right? He stumbles through his speeches, but the president announced some plans to deliver on a campaign promise, election time, right? Election time. So nothing on some of the things that I really think he should have focused on. But this is a big thing. $10,000 in student debt cancellation for millions of Americans, and up to $10,000 more for those with the greatest financial need, along with measures to lower the burden of repayment for their remaining federal student debt. Borrowers who earn less than $125,000 a year or families earning less than $250,000 would be eligible for the $10,000 loan forgiveness that the president announced for those who also receive Pell Grants, which are reserved for undergraduates with the most significant financial need. The federal government would cancel up to an additional $10,000 in federal loan debt. So we're going to see how this goes. I hear him talking, and we're going to talk more about that plan tomorrow that the president has laid out. We're going to talk more about student loans. We're going to talk more about the midterms and all of that. A lot of things going on. Florida Democrats chose a former Republican who is now a Democrat, former Rep. Chris, to challenge DeSantis. But, unfortunately for Democrats, DeSantis is going to run all over this guy. 2 New York Democrats were ousted from the U.S. House primary losses last night. A cluster of contentious Democratic primaries yesterday. 2 New York incumbents were ousted from the House after redistricting shuffled the congressional districts in one of the nation's largest liberal states. So Rep. Maloney, 15-term incumbent who chairs a powerful House committee, lost a longtime colleague, Jerry Nadler. And while Rep. Jones, a first-term progressive who was one of the first openly gay black members of Congress, was defeated by Daniel Goldman, a former federal prosecutor who served as a counsel to House Democrats in the first impeachment against Donald Trump. You remember him. So, there's a lot going on in Florida. An incumbent Republican narrowly defeated a far-right provocateur. Meanwhile, Rep. Matt Gaetz, a conservative firebrand, won his primary with a federal investigation looming over him. So a lot of things going on. See what else before we get out of here, because we have an interview coming up. Joe Public is code word for white people like citizens and Americans. Absolutely. Each charge is worth $1 amount. That's why the charges will be sold on the Fidelity Stock Exchange, Field One says on YouTube. And Will is agreeing with Fields One, Crime Bill 3.0. You are absolutely right. I agree. I mean, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. You guys are right. We got to sit back and watch this, but I keep talking about holding folks accountable. The politicians, the attorneys, and the attorneys are politicians as well. They're trying to hold folks accountable because it works for them. We've got to hold these folks accountable that are supposed to work for us. Today's broadcast brought to you in part by CityView Bar and Grill. CityView is a family-friendly casual dining bar and restaurant providing high-quality food and good old-fashioned friendly service. At the CityView Bar and Grill, you can live every hour like it's happy hour. The food is mouth-watering. The atmosphere is fun, energetic, and mature. Located at 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwinnett Oak, Maryland, it is the CityView Bar and Grill. Stop in today or visit cityviewmd.com, cityviewmd.com. So we have an interview coming up. So I'm going to end the show and see you on the other side, where I'm going to sit down with DJ and producer Mighty Mark. All right. As for the Diamond K Show, I will see you guys tomorrow.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.